Hey DF Crew, I wanted to ask what your feelings were on the state of the art in gaming. As your remit is to cover the bleeding edge, do you feel that sentiment is anachronistic in a time where soaring dev costs and studio consolidations have put more and more emphasis on games being in as many places and appealing to as broadly as possible? Thanks for the work and congrats on making the jump to independence. I think it's kind of like, isn't one the result of the other? The reason that games are having to appear on so many different platforms at this point is because they are so expensive to make. Uh, what impact does that have on the state of the art then, John?
Um, well, I mean, there's still gonna this man, it's tricky though, but when you look at what we've covered, it's always been about it's not everything always about being the highest end thing available. Of course we cover that, but we also take a lot of enjoyment from covering like interesting and difficult like accomplishments, right? Like porting stuff to lower end machines, looking at retro hardware, things that were once extremely advanced. Like it's about the past and the future, not just like, the specific moment in time. And you can talk about technology in interesting ways and without only focusing on the most expensive, crazy things, right?
Mhm.
So, and I enjoy looking at games from a like here's what was accomplished with this size of team or this size of budget or like at a certain scale. Appreciating what developers come up with for these titles, I think is cool. I've looked at plenty of indie titles that sort of fit that bill or smaller scale things. Like what state of the art, uh, that can extend to many different areas. So I don't know. It's just it, but I get the concern though that like there is this thing. What they're basically talking about is AAA games, and
Mhm.
AAA is often synonymous with state of the art, but it doesn't have to be,
Right.
right? And I think
Yeah,
that's the
yeah. I
key,
think Battlefield 6 is a good example of that. It's a hugely successful game. It is AAA, but it's not state of the art
right?
in terms of its rendering features. A point that Alex made in his Battlefield 6, and indeed Oliver in his Battlefield
Yeah.
6 review. What do you make of this one then?
I mean, it's kind of inevitable, and I don't think it's a bad thing that games are made for more devices at all, and I don't think it's going to change our remit at all. Um, I think there's still a great enough diversity in the industry to allow for both high end and low end experiences. There's enough gamers to allow that markets to exist. I mean, in the past, even when in the worst times of like the mid to late 2000s in PC land when things were not so great, you still had at least like random titles occasionally that were like, hey, this title uses a bunch of hacked on physics effects, or we made a DX10 version that is totally crazy for no good reason. You still could find those things back then. And I think even in the future, we're going to still be seeing those kind of things. Just, I mean, I hope at least. But the AAA space, I think, is in a worrisome position at the moment. And I think the next gen coming around is exciting for us because we like technology, but I'm a little worried about if there's going to be too many SKUs, too many consoles at some point in time, and we're going to have like, oh, all these versions, and God, we're spending so much money making sure this version isn't crap, and like just too much. So I think it's going to be very strange, interesting next 3 to 4 years.